be here this morning. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you, Chairman Chabot, Ranking Member Velasquez, the rest of the members of the committee to be here to testify on the impact of cybersecurity and credit card fraud issues on the health and growth potential of millions of small businesses. I want to focus today a little bit on the overall threat of cybersecurity on small companies, but then also focus a little bit more specifically on the credit card issue, since there's a lot of talk about small companies and the conversion to EMV and the liability shift this year that probably is worthy of a little bit of attention. In the last few years, cybersecurity has emerged as a significant problem and concern for the small business community. By the end of 2014, according to our year-end economic report, fully half of small companies reported that having been the victim of a cyber attack, up from 44% in 2013, and of those, 61% say an attack has occurred in the last year. While a 14% increase in the number of small businesses becoming victims is significant, we believe the real story is the increasing impact those attacks are having on small businesses in terms of the interruption of normal business operations and the direct financial cost of the attacks. In 2013, only 12% of companies reported that the resolution of the cyber attack required more than 1 week. By late 2014, more than 1 in 5 such attacks were still unresolved in 1 week, with 13% of them requiring more than 2 weeks. 3 in 5 companies experienced a service interruption, and a third had their websites go down for some period. A significant problem for small companies, as Mr. Groban just talked about, is that many small companies are not in a position to have a dedicated IT department, and many either outsource their IT functions or assign such duties to an employee who has other responsibilities, often the owner, him or herself. You can read the survey results for yourself. We found in our surveys that significant numbers of companies, between 25 and 40% in the last 4 years, report that the owner, him or herself, is the primary technical support IT person. They do it themselves, in addition to being the chief marketing officer and chief product development officer and everything else. And so this is an enormous constraint on how they can respond. And in the case of another significant share of companies, they outsource the IT function to some other company. Of course, the difficulty there is these small businesses, in the event of a crisis, those smaller clients typically aren't the first priority for those IT firms. They have other clients, and some of the bigger clients that pay them more money that will get a quicker response. So those are unique challenges for small companies. But the big eye-opener in our last survey is the increasing cost of these cyber attacks. We looked specifically at what money had been stolen from them from bank accounts, and we found that in 2 years the amount that was stolen went from about $7,000 to about $20,000 on average, a 188% increase in that amount of time, which is staggering. We think that's largely the result of not only the total increase in the amount of phishing scams out there and malware, but also the increasing effectiveness of those. They've become much more real to people. They believe them in a way that they didn't 2 or 3 years ago for a variety of reasons. So this is clearly a national problem, and these attacks are coming often from outside the country. We've got to find a way to limit those attacks while increasing the education of small companies to how to avoid them. The next issue I want to talk about briefly is credit cards in small companies. Various forms of credit card fraud have become more prevalent. So we've seen the desire to shift to EMV or the chip-based cards. So there's this October 1st, we're going to see a shift in liability for fraud, credit card fraud, to whichever company has the least, at least advanced technology, essentially. So if you don't have a EMV reader, then the company could be liable. So those companies really think about what kind of chargebacks they've had, what kind of company they run, what kind of products they sell, who their customers are, do they know their customers, to decide if they need to invest now in those more up-to-date readers, or whether they won't see a significant increase in fraud if they stay where they are now. But we clearly think that shifting to a more secure credit card environment ultimately has got to be the solution for overall credit card fraud, because we don't think that continuing to rely on magnetic stripe technology is likely to be our future. We have to make the shift and make it fairly quickly, because there are too many incentives to shift that data there. So Again, with those highlights, you can read the rest of my statement as it is written. But I appreciate the time to be here today, and I stand ready to answer your questions when it's time. Thank you.